Whoa! Friday, happy Friday. It's like almost quitting time, right?
Right.
Time for the bell. Well, welcome to our live. I'm Adrian Park. With me again, Jay Carter, our founder here at the Profitable Contractor Club. And I think today's conversation is going to be very interesting because I remember coming into this industry, I remember being like, the shit that I could get away with and customers wouldn't be pissed off. I was like, what?
Right.
Wow.
Not much of a bar.
The standard is different in contracting than it was in an earlier life. And, I mean, I think that's an advantage because if you actually, because what I realized was like, I was like, okay, so because the standard was different in banking. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, so we don't have to do any fancy shit here, right? If we show up on time, talk to our customers,
right?
Don't avoid them, like hit some of these, step into some of these problems and, be transparent, be honest, and just like kind of do the blocking and tackling.
Yeah.
Like we're better than like 90%.
90% or better, right?
Right. So I was like, this is amazing.
Oh yeah.
Wow. We just have to just be thoughtful, be somewhat responsive, not even like the most responsive, just be reasonably responsive and we'll win. And that's what happened.
So I have a good story to share about this. Okay. So I won't name any names, but I'm working with a very, and we laughed about this when we went through. So part of what I do is I do a lot of consulting and working with bigger companies on, where their issues are. So I'm working with a client right now. He came to me for a sales, like we set up a sales teams in his marketing. He's 5 locations. And he goes, the first day that I'm doing kind of our discoveries and going through everything, I go to his service manager and I say, hey, what do you think the biggest problems is with your sales team and with the sales process? He goes, well, he's like, we're not really getting a lot of repeat business. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then I go to the production manager, I ask him the same questions. He goes, well, he's like, if you're going to ask me, he's like, I'm tired of taking customer complaints. I was like, oh, okay. Go to the owner. Everything's good. I just need more leads. I'm like, huh. Okay. So I go to the administrator. All right. And I went, hey, can you show me what's your customer satisfaction rate at right now? And she looks at me and she goes, well, we got 3 Google reviews last year. I'm like, you guys did well over 400 reviews. You got 3 Google reviews.
Wow.
And I'm like, and then Google review, remember something here. That is not the way you measure customer satisfaction. And this is what I want to get into today and why it's so important, especially for businesses that want to scale. Because like you said, it's not that we don't know how to impress a customer. It's not that we don't know what's going to, lead to a good job. We all do. Okay. But we get busy and we let our systems, or only the owner knows how to, and we don't practice consistency. Right.
Right.
So I'll kind of tell you how this whole thing has panned out is we started measuring customer satisfaction. And we did that as a leading indicator on whether or not they would have 30% come from referral business or other clients. Like that's what we wanted to hit as a metric, because what is the cheapest way of getting more business, right? Rather than buying leads and rather than exactly. So it's the word of mouth thing, but you can do that with almost less effort. So here's how the leading indicator worked. The foreman, the project manager, would count how many times a customer called him and complained. Okay. So they run about 10, 15 projects on average in a week. All right. Which is pretty good. 15 roofs.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to take a guess at how many complaints were being and how many fires were being put out by the project manager? Want to take a guess?
80% of those. Yeah. 80% of those.
93%. 93%. They were showing up to jobs without telling the owner they were going to show up. The supplier's material wasn't delivered at the same time. So I went, okay, guys.
Yeah, we've done that.
I think I've found a problem here. All right. And so when we put all of them in a room and we had them, tell us what the process was for managing a customer complaint and why it was even important.
Yeah.
Foreman's job. I go to, again, while the foreman's we're in a Zoom call,
Right.
all 5 of us on there. It goes, okay, foreman, what is your process for, dealing with a scheduling complaint? Oh, well, I send it back to the administrator. And I'm like, oh, okay, administrator, what's your process for dealing with that complaint? Oh, well, I sometimes give it to the owner to deal with. And I'm like, okay, owner, how many of these complaints? It turned out the emails, he wasn't even getting to the, so anyways, I'll tell you how we resolved this. And we did it fairly quick. So we stopped, we slowed down. Okay.
Yeah.
And we used AI, again, my friend AI, and we came up with reasons why we would want to, first of all, prevent a customer complaint. So all the complaints, we bucketized them. They were, 30 or 40% were scheduling, communication, okay? And it was sales to production handoff. So the sales rep would sell the job, their commission sales rep, and jam it through production, making up every story they can. And then there was no preparation, and they were just literally going to the supplier, picking up the material and running out a job. So scheduling was a big one. The other one, which was bad, is cleanup. So every job, no cleanup. I'm like, but you have a foreman. Oh, well, the foreman gets, off at 5. I'm like, what? That doesn't have anything. So do you mean he just takes the crew's word for it, is what you're saying? Yeah. I'm like, okay. I'm like, so it doesn't matter how great of a job you do. And the foreman's, response to us is, well, I have had no callbacks. That means nothing. Your customers are unsatisfied with your service because they have to clean up the mess after you're gone. It doesn't matter. So let's get a clear picture of what a satisfied customer looks like. I'm like, let's go through and look at the customers you've impressed. 3 of them last year, in fact, right? And let's see what they thought about your service and how we can do more of that and less of what we're doing that are getting us the negative responses, right?
Good. Yeah, good.
So in the very first word of the thing, the foreman came back and cleaned up all the nails off my driveway before I had to call them. That was the review, and I'm going, wow. I'm like, that is the bar right there, right? So I'm like, okay, guys, how about we do this? And for the owner, I have to get his attention right away. And this is how I did it. I'm like, how about I drop your marketing costs? You're spending roughly $30,000 or $40,000 a month. Okay. Right. They're a direct residential to homeowner business. Okay. They have massive turnover and superintendents, production managers, crews. I'm like, let's do this one thing. Okay. Let's make sure that the values of this company align with what it is that is going to produce the biggest result in the quickest time. And that's lowering the cost of marketing and getting a better cost per acquired customer. Okay. So how much does it cost you to acquire a customer? At the time, we calculated, and again, not data driven, but it was about $4,000 per customer. Okay. Right. Now he's charging a premium. So, I mean, not the worst. So we did these 3 things. First of all, we implemented in a CRM, okay, that a job could not be ordered, could not go out without 1 week's time purchase order in. As soon as the purchase orders were delivered, and as soon as that purchase order went in, the homeowner was sent out, and we did it old school and with email. They were sent out a checklist of things they have to be ready for before the crews arrive with a tentative start date.
Smart. Okay. Good.
We also asked them for a review. We planted the seed early in the process, and we said, hey, when we do a great job, which will, all right, we hope that you would be willing to share a review, right, or refer us to one of your friends or neighbors. Okay, that's all we did. So, and it went out, and we did a direct mail old school because it's, it's coming back. It's new in trend again. And we sent that out. The next thing we did is 1 day before the job in the CRM, no one had to touch anything. Okay, we just wrote the copy, put it in, but if the job was marked as still going forward, it went, sent them out another email, said, hey, we're going to be there tomorrow. Everything's great. If it wasn't going to go, all right, the administrator had to make a phone call and just let the homeowner know. You think a common courtesy, no big deal, right?
Right.
Okay. During the job, the foreman or the superintendent that was running the jobs had to make 1 phone call halfway through the job. So every day at his lunch, he would pick up the phone and call every homeowner that he had on his schedule that day. So some days 10 or 15, whatever. Okay. And in 2 weeks of just doing that, 2 weeks, okay,
Yeah.
how many reviews do you think he got?
I'm going to say about the same, 75 to 80%.
45. 45
Wow.
reviews. Almost every
Holy
single customer
cow.
gave him a review. And do you want to know something
Wow.
else that happened?
Wow.
Okay. All of the neighbors, he ended up from that just doing those things. Like, again, no extra time here, guys. Like, this is the craziest part. Other than the foreman doing his job and he being held accountable, like, hey, pick up the phone and make sure you're checking the temperature of your client. Okay. Nothing else. All right. His CPA, or his cost per acquired customer, all right, in 2 weeks dropped almost $1,000. Why? He's selling to the
Jeez.
neighbors. He's getting leads.
Wow.
Like, his leads are way up. His salesmen are busy again. Like, we're in, like, again, in a recession. People look at that. All of a sudden, boom, core values come out. We're customer engagement. I've got the owner bought in and hook, line, and sinker. I go in to fix a marketing issue, and we come out, and I only did that one thing, and it's already generating more business than he can do. Now, that's a big company. All right. Think about this when you're running your business. How often are you avoiding those phone calls? How often are you not picking up? Like, what would it cost you to put a system in that just responded to your client? Right? Don't avoid it, but little things, right? How hard would it be to set up an automation, or like to send out something before the job, as soon as it's sold? Let them know that you're excited about their business. Give them an idea what the job's gonna, like, nothing. Zero. Okay. Zero. But the payback to it is exponential. You know why? Because even when there is a problem, what do you think a homeowner, or let's take it to the ICI, what do you think a general contractor, like, you can apply this to anything. What do you think people really value? What do you think we're still in a people to people business. What do you think is important? The fact that you cared, the fact you took that 2 minutes. Now, let's apply it practically, right? So let's say you've totally screwed up the job. It took months and months, but you stayed in contact with the homeowner. You did things consistently. You would let them know ahead of time. Like, you really thought about how they feel going through it. You thought about your client journey. Okay. I promise you, the problems at the end of the job, all right, are a symptom of what happened at the beginning of the job. If you didn't start off on the right foot, you're not ending on the right foot. Right. And true. Adrian, I mean, you did big, long projects where, you're lit practically, you're on these buildings for months at a time. I've done them in commercial. Same rules apply here, guys. Making those small efforts consistently makes the biggest difference in the world. And that could be the difference between you being the top, market, top dog, and the bottom guy. Let's really think about what separates us. What separates us, right? If we're all able to offer the same product, same, get the job done the same way, we're using the same guys, and everyone's fighting over price, all right? What's the one thing that can separate you from everybody else? What's the one thing? Your service. Right. And again, I want to challenge everyone that's actually listening to this to think about one thing. The leading indicator of whether or not you're delivering, right, or whether you have a problem or you don't have a problem, is customer complaints. They're telling you. You don't need to look, right? Pick up the phone, make a call. And today I'm going to show you how just stupid easy it is now, and no excuses. Like, I'm going to eliminate the excuses that you could come up with in your own head of how to do this, okay? Because the problem is that we get into this same thing. Oh, well, that sounds like a great idea. That sounds like it could be a novel. Or you talk yourself out of it going, nah, I call my customers, I pick up the phone. Perfect. Thanks for setting the bar so low. And when I come to town and I come to eat your dinner, all right, I will take your business and remove you from the market, okay? Because you've set the bar so low. So I want you to think the things that separate the best, most profitable contractors in the market, the ones that are getting raving reviews, the ones that have all that. If you really focus there, all right, guess what else happens? Your marketing costs go down. Oh, I make more money. I have more work, and I have to work less. And it's not hard. This is the lowest lying fruit that I see so many contractors over and over again neglect. And then they're frustrated, and their time is spent running around in jobs. Guys, It's not happening because you don't have the right guys. It's not happening because, the dumpster was late. It's not happening because of this. All right. I'm telling you what it is. It's you. You are the problem. If you're the owner and you don't have a way of planning your jobs and thinking about the client journey from the time that they sign that contract to the time that you say goodbye, and after, by the way, and we'll get into that today. All right. You have a responsibility for the way they feel and see your company. And this is golden across all contracting. I don't care if you're the third subcontractor on to the main contract. It doesn't matter. There's no substitute, okay, for good service. And good service isn't complicated. It's communication. That's all, right? Yeah. And if you're smart, you use the data from that communication to make improvements, and you don't have to guess at what's wrong. We don't have to guess. We just have to listen. They will tell you what you can improve, what could get better. Instead, we spend a fortune, and I see guys do this all the time. Oh, I'm not getting good leads. Oh, I can't find work, or I'm going to hire this, this lead agency and stuff. Dude, if I could tell you just how much of my business comes from my CRM, right? Again, you guys would be shocked. I don't need ads. Ads could go down tomorrow. All right. So pay and play ads could go down tomorrow. My SEO could go down tomorrow. All of it gone. Okay. And I would survive and thrive.
Still have work.
Just off my contacts, just off of the people I've made happy. And again, opportunity comes that way. Like, people pick up the phone, they're excited to give you referrals, and we can get into the systems and process of all that, because I'm on top of that and asking for referrals and how to do it the right way. But let's get the basics. I don't want you to go out and I see this too, is we're going to try and quick fix something, right? You can't buy customer service. You cannot buy it. All right. You have to embed it and believe in it and make it a core value in your company. All right. And you, the owner, has to demonstrate it for your team. All right. If you don't know how to treat a customer and you don't know how their experience should be, do yourself a favor. All right. Go get a job and work for someone else. All right. Learn what customer service, and I mean it. Yeah. I do. Because no matter what you're going to do, you're always going to have these other symptoms of being terrible at this. Okay. You will have the roller coaster up and down. It doesn't matter. Leads at all types of points in the years. Some things work, some things don't. Like, it's, again, and if you're just turning and burning on clients, that is the most expensive cost per acquired customer. Now, I didn't get to where I am by having a high cost per acquired customer. In fact, it's my secret weapon. My cost is so low that, like I said, I don't need to spend any money on marketing, and I will still crush all my competitors. Why is that? Well, and they're just spending more and more and more. They have to spend more on ads. They have to spend, and I'm just laughing at these guys, because it's like, okay, guys, great. You acquired a customer for $3,000, an acquired customer on a $15,000 job, and you're excited about that. Jeez. That's phenomenal. If I spent that kind of money, that better lead to 6, 7, 8 other jobs, or again, like that kind of investment. And this is the way you need to look at it, where the dollars make sense. Okay. If you're not, again, taking a customer, multiplying it by 2 or 3, okay, you are inherently playing a game of roulette. All right. Again, ad costs keep going up. Marketing costs keep going up. The technology keeps changing, all of this stuff. But you know what doesn't change in all of this? How people like to be treated. None of it's changing. And again, as much as AI is, the new shiny thing in the market, more traditional valued stuff that people appreciate, the direct marketing, the direct response marketing, sending out, actual mailers. Like, being real with people is coming back into fashion. Why? Because, listen, we've lost that touch. We've lost that personal touch, and we are still in a people-to-people business. Yeah. No matter which way you want, you're never going to automate everything, and nor should you, right? And especially when it comes to serving your client. That is a paying client, and that's somebody that can become a promoter and a salesperson for you if you treat them right. And it doesn't take much. And it's like, again, where do you put your investment? Where do you put your time? Well, let's use dollars to make sense of it. if every time you put your dollar in, all right, in, let's say, into your pay-per-click, your SEO and everything else, and you produced one client, okay, that's a 1-for-1 return, right? Now, if every time you did that and you were able to multiply that by 3 more clients that you got referred to, or that seen how great of a job you did because it's visible, or how many other, if you're in a B2B example, how many times you got given the next job, or what I mean, how much you didn't have to go in on that bid or lower your price, and they just valued because you took care of them. All right, when you get the no check bids, all those kind of things. All right, now estimate your costs, right? Now think about it that way. And the more and more you do the little stuff, the stuff that, and again, a lot of times now, guys, you can do the little things and systemize it, right? An email is an email, but what does it say? Does it speak to the person that you're doing business? Is it personalized enough, right? Now we have no excuse for it because you can do those kind of things. You don't have to be a copyright. I remember, and I'll share this with you, when we started to really invest in this kind of direct response, marketing strategy, and again, marketing to your current clients, exponentially cheaper than marketing to clients you are trying to acquire. You don't have to sell them. They're already bought, and they will sell for you on your behalf, right? So again, when I wrote my first set of things and I got my first big copyright, I paid $15,000 for 17 letters, and it was the best investment I ever made in my life. It still to this day is giving me an ROI. All right. Now, for those guys out there that are just starting out and don't have $15,000, listen, you have no excuse. ChatGPT can write you, we can prompt it and get, those emails and those things out to your clients now. We've got systems now for automating. Like, there's just no excuse for it, right? This is this is where you need to be investing. If you want to, be making more profit, this is where you're going to go. So should we maybe do a quick demo here like we did last week?
Yeah,
I feel like I just ranted for like 20 minutes straight.
Good rant. No, let's do a demo.
I'm pretty passionate about customer service, and again, it's a data-driven process. It helps to improve every other area of your business. Like last week, am I sharing my screen?
Not yet.
All right. We're going to start off with our seed prompt. Okay. So we got ChatGPT up. I'm going to provide a seed prompt. By the way, if you guys want this this asset that I'm going to share with you today, just comment in the posts. I want that, and I will send it to you. Okay. So we're going to start off with the seed prompt. We're just basically going to let the AI know what it is that we're trying to do. Okay. Next, we are going to, you know what? Why don't we start off with building some loyalty? What do you think?
That's a good idea.
All right. So let's do this one. Let's do act as a customer retention expert, right? For those guys that are unsure of how to do this. Okay, let's just see what we come up with. All right. Maintenance programs, okay. Referral programs, really interesting. Guaranteed warranty program, yep. Okay.
Priority service, customer loyalty.
Okay. What about, if we had a complaint, how would we deal with that? Let's prompt it to see what we would do, just to take away some excuses, right? Like, how do we diffuse dealing with angry customers? Because, I know one way not to do it.
Right.
Answer your phone. Just answer the phone. Just shutting your phone off doesn't make it go away, right?
Reply to the text, yeah.
Yeah. Right. So again, yeah. Again, if you had a complaint, you follow up to make sure the complaint has been resolved, right? Can we turn a negative into a positive? Hell yeah. What do you think they're going to share on reviews?
Right.
Listen, we all make mistakes. Everyone can acknowledge that. It's how you handle it after there's been a mistake that separates you from, you know, the other low bar contractors out there. So let's what are some effective ways to resolve? Yeah. Right. We want to retain their business. Listen and understand. Ooh. That might be unproductive, right? Apologize and empathize. These are, I mean, don't trust me, right? Okay.
Empower your staff.
Yep. So let's say that we got a negative review, right? Or, you know, actually, you know what? Let's figure out how we can get some positive reviews in here, right? So we'll just prompt it again. And by the way, guys, like if you're watching what's happening right here, like these are, you don't need to think this up. These become tasks for your team to implement.
Right.
This becomes the plan. Like it's, you know, you don't have to guess about this stuff. You don't have to scratch your head and feel overwhelmed. I mean, it's pretty standard, right? So we want to monitor our online presence. Boom. Right, we have a communication problem. Somebody sends you in an email. Did you know that you can use ChatGPT to respond to it in a way that's going to, you know, where you don't have to think about it? Because I see a lot of contractors. I mean, hell, I know the way they respond to me. I'm like, ugh. You know, like if you're sending out misspelled emails with, you know, it's not saying a lot about your brand. So, I mean, even just like, let's just talk about this. I mean, you know, we want to improve our cost per acquired customer. Pretty easy. Like here's the emails that you send and when you send them, right?
Yeah.
Guys, this is what I'm trying to say to you, right? Like we don't, and what do we do next? ChatGPT, can you write this email? Here's my prompt. Here's who I am. Boom. You've created these things in 20 minutes. They go into the CRM. They're automated. Done. Guys, done. Right? It's a sequence. It's like, again, like it amazes me that, you know, again, I work with these huge companies and we're seeing just the same repetitive, the lowest lying fruits. And again, you know, what separates, why are some guys able to go in and charge such an exponentially larger amount than others? I mean, in my market, I'm charging double to my nearest competitor. No problem. And I don't, you know, again, the people that we sell to, all right, they expect it, right? I'm selling to high rollers, people willing to invest. They don't give a shit about the price.
Right.
What do they care about? How you make them feel and what they're buying. Again, why do people buy a Lamborghini and not a Honda Civic? A Honda Civic does the same job.
Right.
Do you want to give your customer the Lamborghini or the Honda Civic? Because if that's what you're selling, I mean, you better be prepared for volume. I rather sell the Lamborghini every time, right? And have raving fans and a cult-like following because I do the things that nobody else thinks about and does consistently, right? So again, you want to build a brand, you want to build market, and you want to get off the hustle. And the hustle is having to sell every day, you know, stuff, looking for scraps, you know, trying to get jobs in, up months, down months. Like, again, being stuck with shit customers you can't get rid of. Like, does any of this sound familiar? Right? Feeling stuck, can't grow your team. Like, think about it. I want you guys to really get inside, you know, let's think about the picture you're painting, okay? For your staff. When you don't have a core value that I'm going to take care of my customer, and what does that mean? I'm going to demonstrate that, right? The way we communicate, the way we show up to the job, the way we, you know, take care of their property, like as if it was our own. Those things are learned, okay? Those things are taught, and it's up to you to demonstrate those for your team and enforce them, all right? And again, it goes to the same thing. If you do, all right, others will do, okay? You're the leader. Right? If you avoid phone calls, I mean, even if your guys never see it, they don't know that you're avoiding phone calls. They don't know that you don't know how to handle complaints. They know it. They feel it because your customer is giving that energy off. Whereas, and I'll give you the prime example. Do you think your guys don't look, or any guys that are going to potentially work for you, do you think they not look at reviews? Are you crazy? Right? That tells them how you treat their customers. And who wants to be involved with a business that has pissed off clients? Right?
Well, who's not top people. Yeah.
Right.
Not superstars.
Right. Is that a reflection of of how you do business, right? Same thing with your customers. Like, we know we live and die off these reviews, and at the end of the day, there's so much opportunity and so much lifetime value in one happy customer, okay, compared to the cost of having an unhappy customer and the cost to your business and reputation. So guys, it's not volume. You're never going to win off volume, right? You're going to win off doing the things. This, again, I'm showing you, I'm directing you towards it. People have an illusion, like, again, like, I'm going to find the sales rep that's going to magically like the magic pill. I'm going to get more leads. I'm going to, if I only had some more money. These are all things you have no excuse. Whether you're the guy in the truck and the ladder, right? You can do this. You don't need to be a copyright. You don't need to have marketing experience. You don't need, like, all excuses are off the board, right? To be great at customer service, all right, you could almost entirely live off that. You could run a business entirely off of that, right? Yeah. And you'd also attract a higher paying customer. Somebody, and this is what really does when you get into those high-end markets, okay? You want to deal with a customer that's going to pay you twice the market value of your service, and you want to feel, like you're getting compensated for your job. There are people out there that will pay that all day long. Why is there's people in this world that'll buy the $500 t-shirt, and there's people that'll buy the $20 t-shirt, right? You should be serving your clients as if they're buying a $500 t-shirt. If you do that, all right, you will start to attract the people that are buying the double the thing, because money's not the object, right? Even your value orientated customers, the only ones that are resistant to this stuff is your price dropper. This turns them away. The guys that are price sensitive, looking for the best, cheapest price, they are turned right away. They run away from this because they know, oh shit, that's going to be expensive. Well, hell yeah, it's going to be expensive. Right. And you're showing why, right? So if somebody comes along and hears about how you treated someone and how they felt while they worked with you, okay, that's only going to attract what? More higher paying customers. Like, I mean, how has Lamborghini established its reputation? By giving, like, inferior product? No, of course not. Right? They play into their market. They know what their market wants, right? And therefore, not everyone can afford that car. And you should be thinking of your business the same way. We talked about it last week, but the biggest, most powerful word that you can have in your vocabulary as a contractor is no. No, I don't want your business. You don't fit my brand. I don't work with you, right? And I say it happily. It's my favorite word. We say no more than we say yes, because we know, hey, if somebody's looking for the best price, we don't have time for that, right? We're not going to be the best price, but we're going to give the best service. And it doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, these things count. These things matter, right? And it's how you want to set your company up, because you'll get a better employee. You'll get more dedicated, more loyal, more, like, these are culture things that you do. You solve your customer's problem completely without them worrying about a thing, day in and day out. You will never have to worry about profit, like all these other things that haunt contractors.
That's one of the things that I saw, that, when we got really good at, because the first thing I did was decide, like, build a list of all the jobs and, like, people I did not want to work with. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, yeah, that sucks. No way, never again. And then it left everybody we wanted to work with. Right. Mm-hmm. But that didn't mean that people that I didn't want to work with didn't still, like, ask us to bid on work, or, go, hey, we did a job a few years ago and da-da-da-da. And I'm thinking, yeah, we lost money on that too. And, and so, like, the habit, the habit we got into, and because we were so clear on who, because we delivered for our target customers, right, our dream customers, like, we were able to say no to all that bullshit work, that wasn't going to be, one, was going to be a headache, two, was going to be lower margin, and and then it's bad for morale, right?
But it just kills it. Yeah, like, I mean, again, you've got to have filters up at all times, and you pick your pain, right? If writing emails and thinking about a client journey is painful for you, then compete on price. We'll just assume that you want to be the cheapest price. Like, guys, like, let's really call the ace the ace, okay? Now, And I'm sure you've seen it too. You know, guys don't get a job or they get slow. Oh, well, it's because everyone's underpricing. You just hear that is the natural assumption, right? Everyone
Right.
must be undercutting. What if I told you that that's absolutely not true? If we were to really get, and if you were to actually ask the happy customers you have, hey, was I the lowest price? Hopefully you're not. All right. Chances are, no, there was something about you in the way that you made your client feel,
Right.
right, that got them to
Yep.
go with you. And again, as you go up in class, all right. So, and I'm gonna try and say this as simplest way I can. There, in my mind, there's three types of customers in every business. Okay. We have our price sensitive customers that are looking for price only. Okay.
Right.
None of this stuff is like, it's a nice to have, but they want the cheapest price. I stay away from them. They're about 40% of the market. Okay. And no matter what. And here's the other thing. Then we have our value oriented customers. Okay. We'll call this the, the mid market. Now that's been completely decimated with inflation. There is no mid market. Like
Right.
guys that were dependent on it, get away from it, because it's the one most heavily hammered and the hardest one to recover. Because, and I'll put it to you this way: people who were broke before all of this, COVID and inflation, they are broke now. Nothing's changed. Okay. The people who are rich, the people who were in the middle class, okay, they went up. They encouraged some new things. There are 401ks, but now it's just dropping. They're losing 40% of their assets. Okay. They're not coming back from that very easily. Okay.
Right.
Because they sell their time in general, right? These are, again, these are people sub $1 million net value, right? Maybe even two, and where, depending on where you are. Okay. But somebody with a $2 million net worth, okay, when you start to really break it down, a 40% drop in their net worth isn't the end of the world. They're still living
Right.
their lives. It's
Right.
because only 15% of their, life like costs are really have to be covered by their net worth, right? So it's
Right.
not a big deal. They absorb that well. The market that got hammered the most, and you guys are feeling it now, and I know you are. All right. And this is, I pivoted, Adrian, we've talked about it. My
Yeah.
move was right away is like, I'm not even going to go near that. It's
Yep.
either high rollers or nothing, because,
Right.
right, this market's really hurting. They've just become into your price sensitive clients. They would love to take your service, but they just cannot afford it. And
Right.
that's inflation and everything else. They're also, again, they're very conservative with what they're spending right now because they don't have this massive nest egg. But
Right.
let's again, like, put that in context, and think about it. If you only had one market or two markets to serve, your middle class has just been destroyed, right? What options do you have here? Either you learn to serve the high rollers who are not worried about price and will pay you what you're worth, no problem.
Right.
But what do they want in return? Okay. I promise you it's not the same as what a value oriented customer
Well,
wanted.
yeah, and to your point, Jay, I mean and again, that's something that I learned earlier in my career, is that the standard as well, like the more, like people are, those folks, the high rollers are willing to pay more, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they also expect more.
But
And
and
so
that's
you've got to step up your game, but the rewards
right.
are so good.
And do they really though? Like, think about it. This is where this conversation becomes very interesting for me, because I'll tell you, it takes just as much work not to have these systems in place, okay, if not more, and serve a lower ticket client, or try to serve the high ticket client, trying to do it out of off your gut, or trying to do it, pieces of it. If you put the technology, or get someone to put it in for you, it's easier, guys. This is what I've been preaching for years now. It's actually easier to serve the higher ticket client. Why?
Well, I agree with that. Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
it's easier. Their problems are not the same as the low ticket or the mid
Right.
range. We
Right.
always, like, when we hit those, those ones that are only concerned about price, nothing will ever be good enough because they paid too much. Okay.
Right. That's a good
It doesn't
point.
matter,
Yeah.
right?
You're right.
So,
Yeah.
and as we go through this recession, you're going to see again that middle class just assimilates into that thing, because they can't afford it, and it becomes a grudge purchase, right? It doesn't matter. So again, guys, for positioning and for understanding, now I could take that same, the same system that I'm using, the same thoughtful client journey that we've implemented, and it gets repeated hundreds of times, thousands of times, over and over again. All right. It still plays on human emotions and triggers. How do you want to be treated? What would be the, like, set your business up with that first, service in mind, right? How do I serve my client? It doesn't matter about anything else. Okay. You will stop automatically competing on price, because the only people that are going to really appreciate and pay your value are what? They're going to have the money. They're not worried about that. Money is not money is no object. And especially, again, I heard a very interesting statistic. So it's not that there's less money in the economy right now. There's still very wickedly wealthy people out there.
Right.
All right. And in fact, in North or in the US right now, there's 25 million millionaires. Okay. 25 million millionaires.
Right.
All right. Now, we're talking, you know, we've got like just maybe a $2 million net worth, all right, all the way up to hundreds of millions of dollars, okay? But then you take a look at that and you compare that, what they buy. They are the major purchasers of all things. They're the ones with the money. And this is what kills me, is that if even you're in a B2B, you're still dealing with ultra wealthy people that will see the value of that,
right?
Okay? Now, if you're in that price sensitive market, which a lot of contractors are, do you realize that you're in where most contractors position themselves, because that's the way it has been since World War II. The middle class ran the economy. Well, businesses didn't adapt to that through all the crashes and everything else. They haven't recognized that middle class doesn't exist as well as it used to. They are not the ones buying, you know, as much or paying as much. In fact, the middle class is eroding into, you know, again, the you know, the lower, and they're the most vulnerable in any changes in the economy, right? So I'm not saying don't serve them. Of course, you know, there's all types of different conditions to it, but let's be real here, right? If you understand that where you should be putting yourself and serving, and you built your business, the best example I can give you of this really working out well is baby boomers. I've been saying this forever. Their value system is totally different. Did you know, okay, that 63% of purchases made right now in the construction market are made by affluent baby boomers, okay? But no one knows how to serve them.
63%?
63% of, and this is for home services, okay? So again, just for home services, but 63%. Now that makes a lot of sense, because guess what? They spend way more money, okay, than any other group, because they have the most liquidable cash. They have the, like, they're also investing in their forever homes and stuff. So again, guys, like, open your eyes. Now, here's the thing. And here's where this all comes into play here, and where I'm going to give you some gold. If you look at that market, let's say you're going to serve the ultra high wealthy, you know, homeowner. Chances are, I'm going to say 3 and 5 are baby boomers or Gen Xers, okay? They're 50 and up. That's right. If you're going to do that high-end market. And here's the thing. Do you think that they appreciate email or actual mail? What do you think they, right? Do we want to, like, again, let's have this conversation. Like, do you think, like, and I'll give you a good example of how we've leveraged it. So you can get printed mailers that look like you hand wrote a thank you letter. Okay. Very, very good, by the way. Very good. All right. You send that out with, you know, we send out a blanket, right? A fucking blanket in a box, and it's, you know, they've got a QR code and referral. But again, they've just spent $100,000 with us. All right. Cost me $75, and it has a handwritten letter in it. And, you know, I sign them. It's all good. Okay. What do you think that leads to? Does it lead to, like, even if I had a bad job and they weren't totally thrilled, do they value that? Or again, like any human being values that, of course, right? But did I differentiate myself? Absolutely. Are they going to tell their other rich friends, neighbors, aunts, uncles, like nieces, like, you got to try this guy, right? All of a sudden, the job you did doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, right? And again, like, when we want to compare, like, at the end of the day, I've discovered in my business, especially, is that, you know, how you present yourself, how you treat your customers is equally, if not more important to how well you can install your jobs, right? We can get away with a lot. You know, we don't skip. And again, naturally we end up getting the best of the best anyways. But again, if I had to start all over again, and just back in a truck and a ladder, you know what I would do first? Pick my avatar. I would put myself dealing with the baby boomers and Gen Xers, and I would be direct with them. I would thank them for their business in the proper way. I would go out of my way to give them service that they had not received in any other projects. And believe me, they've been on the planet for a minimum of 60 years. Do you not think they've been sold to? They've been sold to over and over again. And I hear this complaint from contractors, oh, well, they're so hard to sell to. And I've personally made the complaint they are. Right. But there's a reward to it. There is a big reward to it. First of all, I don't argue over price. I don't need to. And I can charge a premium, and money's not the object to them. It's the little things, the thoughtful things, the considerations that you make. And when they're sitting around with their other rich buddies or, rich family members, or they have a barbecue and they invite their kids over, who do you think when they get asked about their brand new, high-end roof, what do you think they say? Right? It's because I controlled the narrative. I got to control their experience, and the experience, again, shit can go bad, and it does. I mean, we're not perfect. All right. We've had lots of problems, but we make it right, and we communicate, and we make sure that we're improving the process. And now, you get to a point where it's just so easy to serve your clients. It's easier to serve them and provide this kind of experience than it is to not do it.
Well, you said it earlier too, Jay. I mean, not everybody gets some people are like, there's those folks out there, these owners that are like, they just love to serve, and that they all live for their customers, and that gets, that gives them juice, that gets them out of bed. Then there's other people that doesn't give them juice, right? It's something they don't want to deliver, but it's okay, right? Because I would say, my response to that is like, hey, that's okay. You don't have to change, because just remember that so if you can't get juiced about just the service part and whatever else, get juiced about the fact that the best marketing on the planet is great customer service, right?
Absolutely.
You're never gonna get any better marketing than outside of friggin' Coca-Cola having a brand like that. Outside of that, which is the unicorn of unicorns, the best marketing on the planet is great servant service, where you over deliver, bring more value, period. Full stop.
Period. So, and again, does it lead to a better customer? I just explained to you how it does.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. The guy that's price sensitive isn't going to refer you anyways because you were expensive, right? Or you should be, right? If he did refer you, who do you think he's referring you to? Another price sensitive customer? Right. All right. So same thing with the value oriented customer. Very rarely does a price sensitive customer give a referral to a high roller, right? Because they don't value that. And again, I want to, just kind of close out on this point. And then, we got a little bit left on this one, but it's all relevant. But I want to give you an example of how you get it more. Because again, guys ask me this question, and it's I think it's a universal mystery in contracting is well, if it's not price, right? How do I get more jobs? How do I get customers to pay me what I want, right? How do I, double my profits? How do I do these things? And the answer is directly in front of you. First of all, deal with the right people that have the money. That's your first step. Know who they are. Know what they want. Know what makes them tick. And you're only going to do that by collecting information and listening, right? If you listened, you would be able to put them in three buckets. All right. At the end of the job, you had a low, that bought you because you were the cheapest guy. All right. Doesn't really care about anything else. You don't really, customer service isn't going to win there. You're going to have the value oriented customer, the middle market, which again, some guys live in that. And I don't say it's, say it's wrong, but majority of established contractors are fighting for a market that is disappearing fast, and they're feeling it. Okay. They know that that's what's happening, is that they've been decimated. Now you've got this whole huge baby boomer group and all these other people that we forgot how to serve them. We forgot, right? We forgot the things that get direct responses. We forgot how to do a lot of the basic stuff that makes us stand out and differentiate ourselves and leads to, other high rollers, right? So, again, you got to just count it. If I make 40% net profit on a job, all right, and you're making 10, How many more jobs do you have to do to
Yeah.
make what I'm making?
Ouch.
Right. That's the reality.
Well, and the other thing too, again, going back to what you were saying about the recession, Jay, I mean, if you follow, the companies that have done better over the last year, because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we're not in a technical recession in the US, but it sure does feel like it, especially for contractors.
Mm-hmm.
The companies that are putting up the numbers right now are the Louis Vuittons,
You
like
got it.
the high end
Yes, sir.
Ferrari, Lamborghini, Audi, BMW. They're the ones that are still selling the
We
shit out of their products.
and you know who's buying the majority of those
They're not
goods and
in a
services?
recession.
Right.
Yeah, it's right. It's that customer.
That's right. And
Right.
again, the majority of that, those purchases are being bought by, again, your Gen Xers, baby boomers and up,
Right.
like older millennials. Okay, where money's not an object, and there's many, like, again, where did the middle class go? Right, think about it. Like, again, is there, like, do we, like, I can look anywhere and I feel the tension around it. With that, what COVID did is it brought people into a place where they presented themselves almost as a middle class, but it was really just the end of middle class, I'm telling you. And we seen it. I knew it was going to happen. I've been through a few recessions already, and I seen what 2008 did, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, $100,000 income now is not enough. If you're not 225, like, look at the price of houses, all these other things. Do you
Yeah.
think that these, like, again, if the majority of your income goes to paying for your lifestyle, right, and you only have 15% liquidable cash, when the market drops, how much do you have? Less? Are you in debt? Yeah,
Rough
absolutely.
shape.
So
Yeah.
again, and I see that so many households are upside down living off of debt. Like, well, look at the debt levels, right? So we have to think as contractors, okay, is it make sense? And does it make sense that that is where we position our company and gear our business up for? And the sad truth of it, and then, I don't want to scare anybody about it, but like, we pivoted right away as we seen the inflation rate rise, because we knew there was only one class that could afford our prices, and
Right.
there was only one way we were going to survive it. And again, it was pleasant, because we were the guys in COVID. Like, I mean, you didn't have to try to land customers, and they all had money. Well, there's been trillions of dollars sucked back out, and that's not the case. We're all back to competing like the dogs, right?
Right.
But there is one that wasn't affected by COVID, and to them, they're in their own bubble. It didn't go up, go down. It doesn't matter. They're still going to be rich.
And it was the same. It was the same during the financial crisis in
Yep.
2008. The same companies that are putting up the numbers now, that
Yep.
that have a luxury or a high premium offer,
Yep.
they're the ones that were killing it during the financial crisis, because
And
it's not a crisis when you have when you
right.
can live off your investments for the rest of your life,
Right.
or the success or the dividends from your business or whatever.
Your lifestyle doesn't change. Again,
Yeah,
when
it
you
doesn't.
when you hit a
Yeah,
certain net worth,
you're just watching everybody else around you complain about gas and
right.
the price of a gallon of milk and eggs.
Right.
It doesn't
Right.
impact you. Just you're paying more.
And it doesn't impact the value systems either, right? So
Right.
again, like, if the middle markets, feeling they're the ones that are the real losers in all of it, right? They're the only ones that
Absolutely.
are tremendously affected, and it's been going on for decades. Like, it's not new, but it's really starting to become clear. And for contractors, guys, like, open your eyes, look in front of you, and decide, like, if there was no middle class, right, where you could get by with
Where
a
would you go to
handshake
get
and a,
customers? Yeah.
where are you going to go next? And if
Right.
you don't learn service, and you don't learn, running your business by the numbers, and using smart technology to drive that business, well, I mean, one day you'll work for me, I guess. I don't know. Right? We're
Yeah. No.
hiring. Come hang out. If you don't like it and it scares you, and you don't want to do anything, and you don't want to take any action, then step aside. Like, let the companies that will, and let the people, the guys that get it, and the guys that, maybe they don't get it now, but they're willing to put the time and effort into getting it, right? And going
Yeah.
through the pain of change and the pain of adapting to something.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean, it's, to make it really, really fundamental, it's like you're going to get pain no matter what,
No,
right?
everything's painful.
Pain is. So,
Mhm.
I think of it like this. Okay. So I'm going to get pain no matter what. Either I can choose the pain.
I love that.
Or I can just I can just wait for it, and then I get crushed by the pain of like not doing this. My competition gets better. I don't get better, right? Not changing my marketing, not changing this, not changing that, not serving my customers. So I can either wait for that pain to come, which is going to be like a fucking tidal wave, or I can start conditioning myself, and I can decide what pain I want. And that's, you know, my success in this business, in this industry was, I came into a business that was getting crushed by the tidal wave because it hadn't adapted. Right. And that was a long, like, it took a lot of time and
it's a slow death.
It was hard to turn that around. But on the other side of that, I went into a smaller market and wiped out the competition, because they couldn't hang with me. Right.
Well, because they're taking middle-class values into a high-end market where it's not appreciated.
Exactly. So they were bidding like what you're describing.
Yep.
They were going against me with these premium customers and
lower prices and looking like idiots.
And these guys would say to me, they'd be like, look, you know, I got to get a price from them. I got to get a price from them. And I was like, I was the guy that I was competing against when I first came in. And now I'm on the inside, and he's like, okay, look, he's X% above you. And I was like, the price is the price. And they'd still buy from me.
Absolutely. And we do that in our commercial as well. I mean, we're getting the last crack because there's a respect, right? So when you're competing on price, where does it come from? Like, and again, you think of a general contractor, for example, or, you know, lowest bid anything. Okay. Do you not think they sit back and laugh at some of these guys that come through and they know, like, come on, they know. And the guys that come in at the right price and are, you know, higher price, like, again, even in like bidded work, in government bidded work. Okay. There are people making absolute killings. Why? Because they know, right? They know how to price. They know how to position themselves. And there's more to it than just the lowest bid. They also know that when they do get a job, that they have to blow it out of the park. Because why? Do you think that the people managing those projects want headaches of somebody that doesn't know what they're doing and is just trying to do it the cheapest way? No. And again, you really look at the bidding practices of some, you know, some organizations and contractors and generals and all that. They're estimating their pain, right? So when they take a low bid, they already know what they're in for.
Right.
All right. Now, when the job has budget, all right, they're going to avoid the pain and they're going to go with the guy that they feel through pricing, because they're playing the same game. All right. That will give them the least amount of headaches and do the job they need done without having, you know, because again, it's hilarious that we see it over and over again. And the same with a homeowner, same with, you know, high rollers, especially if he's looking at two contractors coming through the door. Let's say we gave the same presentation, the same everything. Okay. Well, he's only got one option. He's going to have to choose on price, right? There's nothing else to say. And it's disappointing to him.
Right.
Because he's driving a Ferrari, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and there's so many of these people driving a Mercedes, and it's disappointing because they can't find someone that speaks to them about what they value. And again, if it's materialistic things, whatever, like even just, you know, being, you know, connected to your client, like they tell you, like if you've done business with a high roller, man, I can tell you all the conversations you're going to go through in about 5 minutes, right? And it's the same stuff across the board, the same patterns, the same everything. Okay. And you become accustomed to that. But if they're looking at two prices, they got one guy just dropping his pants and giving him, you know, the cheapest deal, telling him, hey, don't worry, I'll do this a little cheaper, like trying to beat on price. They're sitting back going, and then you have somebody that comes in and goes, hey, listen, I'm going to give you a headache-free, you know, peace of mind of experience, right? I'm going to make sure that, you know, there is, like, you leave for work and you come home, this will be all done. I'm going to take care of you. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to pay a little bit more for that. All right. Maybe a lot more. And in my case, a lot more. Like, I mean, I have had customers bring it up and be like, hey, you're like $10,000-$15,000 more than the other guy. I'm like, does that not concern you? Yeah, it does actually, you know, like, like, you know what I mean? Like I've put myself in that position though. I've taken the time to do a proper sale, to go through and given them enough of a reason to justify. I've built the value with them. I've taken my time. All right. And again, this comes back to traditional direct marketing strategy. Like marketing has not changed despite all the platforms and everything else. Marketing is never going to change. It's about meeting people at their emotional level and persuading them to solve their problems, right? If we look at it that way, like all the other things is just noise, all right? Get the fundamentals down. People understand your journey, understand your client. Make sure you are measuring your success at taking care of that client. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. You can't repeat that and expand that. And when you do find those markets, like again, I've been living on that wave for a long time, and it's not going away, right?
Right.
It's not. And again, we adapt because we look at the leading indicator, which is customer service. It's the complaints. It's the like that is our leading indicator to know if we're winning or losing, right? As long as I keep up a very high standard, okay, I'm always going to be different in the market. I don't have to like. And again, the bar is so low, like so. Like just show up and give the quote and you win the job. Like it's still like that. But yet I hear these guys bitching about, oh, I can't get the job or it's the government or whatever. Guys, it's just noise, man. You're just not doing the fundamental things that have worked for businesses. Like look at your nearest competitor. I guarantee they're doing these things. Guarantee it, right? You can't get to scale without having it in place, right? Builders, the same thing, man. You know, like for builders that have been caught up, you know, just building for the mid-range, you know, middle market people, like it doesn't matter, right? Like, and you know, it's price that you're playing with. So why bother? Like, why put yourself in the same position every contractor's been conditioned for to sell to the middle class, right? Because since World War II, it's all been middle class that we assumed were the purchasers. Wake up. Look, open your eyes, look around. Like, again, is it easy to be middle class anymore? No, fuck. And what we think is middle class isn't middle class. Like the guy with the mortgage and the 9 to 5, not who I do business with. All right. And I know it sounds bad, but they just, there is contractors that serve them. All right. There's contractors that do business with them and they do, you know, they run a good business, but I beat them in profit 5-1. Right. I work a lot less. You know, and again, we still like there's such the gap there in just understanding what the values are and what makes them buy and purchase. And like, again, like go and figure that out, go address that avatar and you will instantly, I guarantee you put some of the things that we just even suggested today, put those things in place and see what happens. Just those things. Right. Watch. Right. Don't take my word for it. Just
do it.
Do it and see. Right. It takes zero effort and energy. I mean, buy yourself $100, you know, email responder, you know, get ChatGPT to write you some, you know, you will differentiate yourself immediately. Right. Again, I feel like we're ranting. We're getting a little over time. We did a little rant. We did a little rant. So if somebody wants what you were just those prompts that you just were using, because we just were showing the just ChatGPT, but you were pulling those from a document we have available. We do. So so we just want to hear you comment. You know, again, if you made it this far and you're hearing this, let's just comment. I want that, and I will send it to you in Messenger right away. No taking your emails, nothing like that. Just again, I want to share this stuff with you and with whoever's listening. All right, let us know if you want it, whether it's on LinkedIn here, on Facebook, and we'll get it to you. And you see how easy it is, right? You just put the prompts in and then the AI is doing all the work. Right. No excuses. No excuses. All right. Thank you, everybody, for spending some time with us here on Friday. We're here every Friday, 3 p.m., and we will see you next week. Bye.